Okay, so in a scenario that I have lived many times, um, I figured out the solution before I got a response to my question. Uh, you know how when you're working on something and you're like, oh, you know what? It would be great if I had this tool. So you ask somebody to go grab it for you so you can, do the thing you're supposed to do. And then while they're going to grab the tool, you go, oh, I don't need that. I can do this. Um, that's sort of what happened here, where I didn't get a response to my last video in time because I didn't give any time for that to happen. I kept fiddling with it and fighting and reading and redditing, and this is doing what I want it to do. So you press the button, red light comes up, hold it as long as you want, charge your pistol, and then boop. Sorry, flashbang. That's what I wanted this whole time. So again, I am not an electrician, and I am able to follow directions given to me. I don't always understand what the reason is, and I can mimic things. I'm leaving the other video up for posterity's sake, but what was going on before, the circuit I was trying to copy was having hot, so this side of the thing, power going to the one side of the button, with the LED receiving power from that lead. No, excuse me. Power was coming in via a 10K transistor. Power was also coming in via this 330 transistor and the LED to one side of the button. The other side of the button was connected to ground. So when you press the button, all that power flowing through would go to ground and complete the circuit. Again, the old system was trying to monitor the voltage drop when the button was pressed to trip the chip to then trigger the lights. But that was resulting in everything turning on at once because I'm assuming because the voltage drop was happening when the button was pressed, but I don't want it to happen when the button is pressed. The 555, the NE555 chip. Wow, you can actually see that text on there better than I can in real life. I cannot read that text, but it's showing up great on camera. These were knockoff. Well, I mean, they're probably knockoff chips, but I thought they were the wrong kind because they didn't have any writing on them. I can see the writing now. That's funny. Anyway, tangent. The chip, and again, my understanding, I've been doing a lot of reading, but still very basic reading. Pin 2, which is this one here, is just looking for a change in voltage. Down to, I think it's like 1.5 to 3 volts is kind of the thing it looks for. When it gets that signal, it then will output on pin 3, which is the one right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pin 4 is the reset pin, which always has to be hot, at least in the similar configurations I've seen. Same thing with 8, which I believe 8 is what gives power to the chip to get the logic going. And then this is reset, and I believe there's something causes a short somewhere to trip the reset, and reset's always hot, and there's more complicated circuits you can build with it. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a caveman when it comes to circuitry. I can do macro circuits and wire up your house, but this is anyway. Pins 6 and 7 are I don't remember what they do. Discharge. They're the discharge or whatever. I believe they're the way out for the chip, because the chip is also grounded via the first pin. That's this gray cable here. I've been doing a lot of reading. I still don't understand what 6 and 7 do, but again, I'm copying somebody else's work to get these. I'm not naming names off of forum posts and that sort of thing because whatever. But so hot is coming into this area here, and it's making like a feedback loop or something between 6 and 7. And then there's this capacitor here, which, again, I've followed instructions and it's doing what I want, but I don't understand the why 100%. Basically, while this button is pressed, it's charging this capacitor. Pin 2 is getting constant power through this 10K resistor here. So again, pin 2 is looking for a drop in voltage. When the button is pressed, again, as I understand it, there's a discharge of power through the button back to ground, which completes the circuit to allow the LED to light up, which is good. And it also charges the capacitor. Again, I think when the button's released, the capacitor then does something. It drops before it fills back. It doesn't. It only fills. If you think of it like a cup of water, and as long as the button's being pressed, the capacitor's filling with water. When you release the button, the water's going to spill out and it's going to travel downstream to the button. I don't understand. Again, my understanding is limited. I thought that the capacitor would send more voltage down, which would be a jump in voltage. I need to actually get I've got my voltmeter here. I need to monitor it and see what's happening. But essentially, when the button's released, capacitor goes, boop, here, look at me. And pin 2 goes, whoa. And I believe that this capacitor here on the discharge end, it takes a while for the power to leave the circuit through this capacitor. It holds onto the charge for just a little bit. And that's the timing circuit, again, as I understand it, that sends the power out, the output of that power, that charge, to these LEDs. So I'll do it again. And if I'm explaining this wrong and you know better, please tell me. Charging, shot. Pew! That's exactly what I've wanted this to do. So the other issues I was having, and again, using like the educational chatbot AI garbage things on some educational websites and some apps and things, trying to teach myself how to do this. I've stumbled across something that works, which is really great. But again, if there's a more efficient way to do this, please let me know. Or if you've got resources or places that I should look, tell me, because I want to learn. I want to get better at this. But so now that this circuit is working and it's doing what I want, I'm going to try and optimize the layout so I can build it on. I have some of these circuit blanks here, these guys, and I want to get it down to a manageable size. So like have like for instance, have the IC like here. I could probably use one of these little boards, IC, and then bring power in on one side. And I'm gonna have to play with it and do a lot of prototyping and stuff on paper and on the breadboard here to get to a best case design. I've never done this before, but my idea being once this is all good and I can get all the circuit on a little board, then I have to figure out where that board is going to fit inside the model. So how this gets laid out is really important. Those capacitors are tall, they're thick boys. So that gives me, there's a the X and Y and Z dimension, or X and Z and Y, whatever. I don't remember what Fusion uses, but that three-dimensional shape has to fit inside the model. Now, I believe once it's scaled up, there will be plenty of space, but I have to also take that into consideration because I've got to fold my capacitors and resistors and things probably a little bit flatter, and obviously you can't have anything touching, so I've really got to play with this and get it down to a manageable size. You have to buy these bits and pieces in bulk, so I've got a lot to play with, but I also don't want to ruin all of them. My dream, would be to get the model set and figured out, and I'm realizing now I may have to start from scratch and change my approach of how I'm doing the 3D printing design part of it. But I'd love to get this down to a science. Focus on the board. I'd love to get this down to a science, figure this out, get the model working good. Once mine's working, I can share the schematics, and I've got a bunch of extra parts. Some of these things I'm buying just for this project. Some I can use for other things, some I can't. So I think it'd be really cool to make the little boards, and then just, if you want to buy the board pre-assembled from me, I can put it together and sell it to you for a couple bucks. I think that would be pretty cool. If you're trying to do that model, I'll probably change the button out to something different. But again, now that the circuit I know is working, I can start making space in the model for the components I need, and then printing prototypes and testing and all that jazz. So I'm super excited. And if you again, I'll post the guy's name in the description, guy, girl, whoever did it, the models in the first place. If you reach out to them, I don't know how to do that, but if they come across this project, please let me know. I really want you involved in the credits of it. This is your 3D model that I am trying to make light up and have some real world functionality, but you know, they did all the heavy lifting. I'm just trying to make it into something that you can hold in your hand and props and all that. But I definitely want to make sure they get the credit that they deserve for this. So if you happen to see this, you know, let me know. My email's on the channel description. I've never received an email in 13 years of doing this, but I have an email. Hit me up with it. But yeah, now this is working. I'm going to leave this board as it is. I actually have another board, so I'm going to replicate this circuit with more components and leave this as a. I'm going to disconnect power now. It's not doing anything. One thing I did notice too, I'm hoping to keep these videos up on my YouTube channel as like a tutorial. So if you want to do this yourself and buy your own parts and assemble it yourself, you can. When I connected power, whoa, there is a brief flash from those as the whole circuit gets energized. Once it's connected, it doesn't do that unless you release the button. So that was just something to be aware of. That's supposed to happen. And I think it'll be kind of cool too when you load your cell charge into the thing, it'll flash. I think that's kind of neat. Happy accidents, you know. Yeah, this video is just as long as the last one, and again, if you're seeing this before the first one somehow for some reason, this is the model that I got from that creator. I keep forgetting the name. I'm sorry. It's not a common name. It's a made-up username. It keeps slipping my mind, but this is the model that I'm trying to make full size and scale up and put lights in. I want to take the texture work they did is great. I want to be able to use that and make like stencils that you can spray paint or hand paint or whatever onto the model itself. Some of the labeling and stuff that they did. Yeah, I mean they did a lot of great work. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I want to make sure that they get the credit for all the design time that I'm sure spent on all this. I've spent a couple days worth of time over the past month or so working on getting this printable in a mechanically, how does each piece come apart and lay on the print bed, and what's the best layer direction and all that. I've just been fighting with that, and now that I'm confident with how I want this to go, I need to get the parts that go inside it to work and scale it up and do all that. So, yeah, I keep reiterating that I did not come up with the design because I really want to make sure people don't think I'm trying to steal their work. They uploaded it for free for download for people to use, and I am using it. And I really wish that mod would actually happen because I love Marathon. I think it'd be really neat to see that mod come to fruition. I'm not a programmer or a coder. You can see my electrical and programming knowledge is very basic. If there's anything I could do to help that program move forward, though, I'd love to help. But in any case, if this helps bring more light onto their work, that's a positive. I don't have anything else to say. So, yeah. Well, I will say, I will reiterate, if you know how to do this better or more efficiently, let me know. These are the parts that I have. I have some resistors, I have some capacitors and some LEDs and lots of buttons. Where are my buttons? I have lots of buttons. I needed one of these buttons here. Hold on, let me take off the focus. I needed one of these to fix one of my Palm Pilots, and so I bought the whole box of a ton of them. So I've got lots of different options to design from. I'm probably going to pick one of these bigger ones for the trigger, but again, I have to prototype it and see what fits. So I don't want to have to go buying more parts. I know I'm supposed to have a ceramic capacitor to help with the on pin 5. Pin 5 is blank right now, which isn't great. I'm missing a little ceramic capacitor to help stabilize the flow or the feed, and it helps with some noise in the circuit. Again, this is super simple. A little bit of noise isn't the end of the world. It's not like it's a speaker setup or something, but yeah, once I have that, I'll also add that in here. But I'll leave this one as like a parent, and I have my other breadboards I can use to practice shrinking things down. But keeping this one, I like the way this is laid out. It's easy to follow what's doing what and going where. For me anyway. Like, I wish that this was gray. This kit I have has different colored wires and jumpers, but they're not all the right lengths. Like, you don't have like a red and a gray of one length. You've got like red, and gray is a little shorter, and you got blue, which is a little longer than red, but shorter than yellow, and it's whatever. It's a tangent. But yeah, I want to learn. I want to keep going. Thank you for checking these little videos out. Again, sorry I haven't done an Ashes video or worked on any series in a bit. I have been ill, and I have headaches, but yeah, thanks.